Louis Sullivan, the founder of our architecture today. Louis Sullivan as an artist. Sullivan is known as the father of architecture by creating the first tall building, and as we know today is the skyscraper. He developed more than 100 buildings, and several of these are historic landmarks. He is most famous for two famous buildings, and they really changed the culture of our country and around the world, but I'll get into that later as the next slide pertains to his early childhood and adulthood. A brief look at his childhood and early adulthood. I don't want to go in depth with this, so I can really inform you all about his arts and what he's known for. He was born in Boston in 1856. His parents moved to Chicago in 1872. He studied at MIT, the architectural program, which that was the first in the nation at that time, and that exemplifies to me as a very prestigious college, and I think that pertains to all of y'all too, as it is a worldwide known college. And he dropped out after a year to practice architecture rather than study it. Louis Sullivan moved to Chicago in 1879. He joined the office of Danmark Adler. The two made an incredible duo on both architect and business side of the firm, which Sullivan, he took care of the architects. He was the architect guru, as I like to call the title of the slide is. He came up with all the ideas, and then Adler took care of the business sides, and they two just created a firm named Adler and Sullivan Architects, and I think that's where it all started, and that began a time where Sullivan was really famous. His famous works, there's not much on the slide, but the two famous buildings he developed were the Auditorium Building and the Wainwright Building, located in Chicago and St. Louis respectively. What was famous about the Auditorium Building was it consisted of a theater, hotel, office buildings, and numerous shops. So as you can see in this picture, it's clearly different than the buildings surrounding it, and this was the building he's most known for. It was responsible for a cultural change, not only in America, but around the world. In 1890, the World's Fair came to Chicago strictly for this reason, for this building. And the World's Fair is, it was the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus' voyage. And I just think that displays the level of architects that he was on during this early time period. The Wainwright Building, shown here in St. Louis, is 10 stories high, made fully of steel, and as you can see, it's very modern looking compared to the other buildings around it. This may seem like an ordinary building, but I just think it's more important because this is how we develop our buildings today. We use steel and we build up, and I think this is the building that we look at today so we could mimic our skyscrapers afterwards. His legacy as an architect. I think he set the standard for future buildings. The buildings we see today, the ones you see in this photo right here, I mean, the Wainwright Building was 10 stories long, and these are easily 100 stories. So I just think he's not called the father of modern architecture for nothing. He gave us ideas to rather go up than outward, and I think that just gives us endless options on what we could do in the future of architecture. And I just think he's very influential to architects today, and I just hope we continue his legacy. With Louis Sullivan being nicknamed the father of modern architecture, I think he really did live up to that, and I just think a lot of people today, if they researched him or if they knew about him and learned about him during school, then I think they would agree with me. Because I mean, not the fact that he developed more than 100 buildings, but I mean, just that in itself is amazing. Like, that's just insane. But the fact that he changed the whole culture with the Auditorium Building. He had a shopping center, a theater, a hotel with office buildings. I was like, you get a lot of that today, and that's what we see all around our major cities today. Like, he invented the skyscraper, so like, how do we like what? How do we change that? Like, I don't think he gave us the idea to build up, not outward, and I think that saves us like so much space and gives us so much more options to do with this area that we're given. And we just have to thank him. The architects, I think, in today's society mimic him based on his structure with the Wainwright building, 10 stories tall, building up nothing but steel. And of course, we have better technology, we have better computer programs today, but I still don't think an architect can change the culture the way that Louis Sullivan did. And I just think he's that instrumental to the role, that instrumental role in architect history. Like, I think he just goes down as the best one we've ever had, just based on the fact that how he changed the culture, and he gave the people like something they've never seen before, and everyone was amazed with it. And I just hope some architect in the future changes our culture the way he did, and because the ideas are endless, there's endless options. Like, we don't know what else to create, but so did the people back then, and he came up with a skyscraper. So it gives us an wondering thought of what's next. And I mean, it's kind of scary to think about, but thank you for watching this video and taking the time, and I'll take all critiques welcome, and I just hope y'all learned a little bit something about the father of modern architecture. Thank you.